This hearing come to order. Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome our witnesses, say how much I appreciate your thoughtful testimony. I've read it all. There's some pretty compelling stories. This is, from my standpoint, a very important hearing. This witness is Mr. Michael Keegan. Mr. Keegan is a retired Associate Commissioner for Facilities and Supply Management at the Social Security Administration. Mr. Keegan has raised concerns about waste within the Social Security Administration. Mr. Keegan.
Chairman Johnson, Ranking Member Carper, and distinguished members of this committee, thank you for this opportunity to discuss my demotion, reassignment, and retaliation during my tenure at the Social Security Administration, or SSA. In July 2011, I was recruited by former Deputy Commissioner Budget, Finance, and Management, Michael Gallagher, specifically to assume management and responsibility for the Office of Facilities and Supply Management, known as OFSM, an organization of approximately 500 employees and contractors operating and administering management and real estate actions for hundreds of SSA facilities across our country. In January 2012, I was assigned as the project executive for the construction of a replacement computer data center. This project was funded via a $500 million appropriation as part of the American Reinvestment and Recovery Initiative. Congress had been briefed by SSA officials that the appropriation was needed to replace the existing National Computing Center, or NCC, located on the SSA headquarters in Woodlawn, Maryland. Most notably, the replacement data center occupied only one floor of the entire National Computing Center with approximately 75 employees. However, an additional 925 employees work in the building's other three floors. The centerpiece of the justification presented to Congress was that the NCC was beyond economical repair, in terrible condition, and had to be replaced in totality. My duties further required attendance at quarterly congressional staff meetings before the House Ways and Means Committee Subcommittee on Social Security. SSA was required to brief the committee on the progress and costs of the NCC replacement project. I was an important member of SSA's delegation. In the course of performing these duties, I discovered a number of serious problems at SSA. I first brought these problems to the attention of Assistant Deputy Commissioner, Budget, Finance, and Management, Ms. Tina Waddell, who did not act on my recommendations and instead instructed me to brief the new incoming Deputy Commissioner of Budget, Finance, Management. In February 2013, Mr. Peter Spencer was brought out of retirement by Acting Commissioner Carolyn Colvin to assume the duties of Deputy Commissioner. Soon after Mr. Spencer's arrival, I gave him a detailed briefing on serious issues that I believed included misleading Congress, waste, and abuse. I further raised employee overtime and travel abuse issues. However, the most significant issues I raised involved SSA's representations to Congress to replace the entire National Computing Center, when at most only the part of the NCC that held SSA's data center needed replacement. As an example of this lack of candor, testimony on the record from Patrick O'Carroll, SSA's Inspector General, references the National Computing Center replacement with the National Support Center data center. Page 3 of that testimony notes that SSA representative was monitoring and improving NCC plumbing conditions, foundations, and monitoring HVAC ductwork as examples. This was no mistake or misunderstanding. SSA was specifically advised by an independent assessor to revise a Jacobs engineering report to directly address the committee's inquiries on construction costs and future use of the NCC. SSA refused to follow this recommendation and chose not to be forthright with Congress. And further, there was no mistake. At depositions, my attorney specifically asked and clarified from Ms. Colvin and her top aides that SSA never had any plans to replace all four floors or the entire National Computer Center. Attached for the committee's review are Exhibits 5 through 7 deposition transcripts which demonstrate this lack of candor. I asked the committee to pay special attention to Ms. Colvin's deposition transcript where she denies knowledge of that which National Computing Center employees do, where she testifies that she never saw the reassignment letter that ruined my career, a letter which she signed. Notably, her testimony that her chief of staff made the critical decisions against me, which was squarely contradicted by her chief of staff's testimony, which stated she made those decisions. I asked the committee to read pages 41 to 46 of Mr. Spencer's testimony as an exhibit, in which he dances around basic questions about whether he would consider purposely misleading Congress to be unethical, Mr. Spencer actually testified that he could not affirmatively say that purposely misleading Congress is necessarily unethical. Shortly after my report to Mr. Spencer, I was removed from the quarterly congressional staff briefings. A week later, a formal investigation was launched against me. Although I was cleared from the completely fabricated discrimination and hostile work environment allegations, I was removed from my position and left to languish in an empty office with a few tasks that a junior administrative employee could complete.